In today's lesson, we'll be learning about the cosine law. In a previous lesson, we learned that this is the cosine law, and it can be used to find the unknown side in a triangle. Unfortunately, the cosine law is pretty complicated looking. We used an arrow to better understand it. Lowercase c represents the end of the arrow, which is what we're looking for, while lowercase a and b represent the sides of the arrow. And last, capital C represents the tip of the arrow. It is important to remember that this arrow is always pointing to an angle. Believe it or not, this is also the cosine law. It has just been rearranged. This form of the cosine law can be used to find an unknown angle in a triangle. Like I mentioned before, this arrow is always pointing to an angle, and in this case, it's an unknown angle. Let's begin by replacing some of these variables with numbers. Uppercase C represents the tip of the arrow, and that is what we're looking for, so nothing is going to change. Lowercase a represents a side of the arrow, and I'm going to replace that with the number 10. Lowercase b represents the other side of the arrow, and I'm going to replace that with the number 13. And last, lowercase c represents the end of the arrow, and I'm going to replace that with the number 12. You'll notice that this looks a little bit strange. It looks like a very large number. However, there's actually multiplication occurring between these numbers. So it's actually 2 multiplied by 10 multiplied by 13. And you can use a dot as a multiplication sign instead. I'm not going to finish these calculations in today's lesson, as all I wanted to do was show you how to use this form of the cosine law, which is used to find an unknown angle.